Now after that, I wonder if I can even speak. You know, that experience really says enough. You really don't have to say anything. I mean, any words would kind of degrade it, if you think about it. You're going back home, you know. Someone's coming home, actually, right now. Yeah. All of us are searching for that home. Like we came into a human body to seek our true home. That's why this place is called the home, spiritual center. This is the point of being in these physical bodies. Where is that home? It's definitely not your brick and mortar house. Those houses in a second could be destroyed by a storm. So that's definitely not your home. How about these bodies? These bodies also could be wiped out in a second. One meteor, gone. Everyone just sort of disappears. So these bodies cannot be your home. So where is our true home? So when you have a consciousness, human consciousness, you can actually point your mind toward home. You can actually contemplate the infinite. You know, maybe as an animal body, you wouldn't be able to do that. Rabbits aren't contemplating the infinite universe. They're looking for carrots. So the human body, the human form, human consciousness is the way out of the endless cycle of birth and death and birth and death. This being is the way out, where we actually have an intelligence to contemplate the soul. This is the greatest gift we could have given. You know, are you seeing my point? So then this question of, well then, where are we pointing our consciousness? Where are we pointing our focus and concentration? Is it just on our cell phone? Is it just on material achievements? Job, house, you know, going on vacations, food? Is it just material consciousness? Or are you thinking about something more vast? We can't just be these bodies, you know? And so bit by bit, we unlayer ourselves, take off layer by layer after layer, and become more and more wide until, you know, it's kind of like an onion. You know? Peel away the onion at the very middle, there's nothing. Space. Right? Same with karma. Peeling away layers and layers of karma, of what I was calling yesterday a Halloween costume. So it's just not one Halloween costume. I mean, you know, it's the person who takes off one. Oh, there's another. Oh, takes it. Oh, there's another. And how many costumes do you have? Millions. Millions. That's why it's multi-lifetime task to unlayer this type of consciousness. Because if you think about it, if all of us have had, let's say, 1 million lifetimes, and we built up, you know, these different karmas over the course of all those lifetimes, that's a lot of layers. So it may not be that easy just to pop over into enlightenment. You know, it takes work and self-awareness. I call that, we were talking about this, the purification process. How do we purify ourselves? Take off the costumes. Well, do you want me to give you an example? Very, very simple example. You can use this every day. Be aware of this moment, what you're feeling. And anything you're feeling, any sensation, any thought, it's not you. So you write down or you speak aloud. Let me give you an example. So I'll be aware of my feeling right now. Okay? There's sort of this heat, a sort of flusteriness here, tightness here, a little worry in the pit of the stomach. And a feeling of like groundedness. Right? So see what I just did. Did you notice? Very, very present to my experience right here in this moment, right in front of you. And already I can feel the layers unpeeling, unfolding, releasing, letting go. So all you have to do is name it. Simply name it, and it falls away. The moment you put your awareness on it, see, most of our karma is underneath the surface. We don't see them. We don't even pay attention to them. We're automatic beings, you know? Doing everything from the subconscious and unconscious mind. We're built like that, kind of like a robot, built out of karmas. So this kind of clearing process can be done. By the way, I've done journals and journals and journals of releasing so many aspects of the Brian character. And by now, wow, Brian is radically changed through that purification process. That's how you unfold your karma. That's how you find your soul. Now, you may be wondering, and probably the obvious next question is, well, if most of our karmas, our issues, are underneath the surface and we can't see them, subconscious and unconscious mind, how do you reach it if you can't see it? If you're not even aware of how you're being run by the human mind? Well, it's simple. Say one word. Chant. Wow, that was really loud. Is that you, God? Chant. Chant. You do that mantra that you saw you were yawning, right? Yeah. That's the whole process of unfolding of the karma. You release heaviness, boredom, tiredness, all that stuff is underneath the surface. Right? You chant the mantras, it all comes up, pushes up to the surface so you can see it. That's how you reach the places that you would normally not be able to see. That's the graceful factor of the mantras. They go so deep. You know, these mantras come from my teacher. Maybe you can see his picture of Swami Purna, an enlightened being who doesn't have the issues that we have, doesn't have the subconscious and unconscious issues. So if you're around a pure being and then you start using some of their practices on yourself, you will start to purge and release quickly, deeply. This is a profound process. And so something I've been doing for many, many years, since 2007, invoking that energy and grace, maybe even 2008, depending on, but using the practices of the Holy Master to unfold the illusions and karmas of the human being. Day after day after day, I mean, this sort of clearing process going on. And at some point, now this is fascinating. Are you ready to hear this? At some point, the sense of a person or an I or ownership becomes so subtle that no karmas hang on to you anymore. like a Teflon pan. They don't stick. So none of the issues or traumas, let's say you're in a really difficult situation, I don't know, some sort of traumatic situation, none of it clings to you anymore. Up till then, maybe all the stuff that you were going through was sticking and you had to take time to process it and release it. Now, there's no space, there's no place for all those traumas and karmas and issues to even land. So you're just like I don't know if you would call it a fireball, but you're just burning off karma issues day after day, almost kind of without even trying, because your identity has dissolved to that degree. That's the key to the spiritual path. It's kind of like the boomerang, right? God throws out the boomerang, there goes the human being, he's going away from God, he, she, gets to the end, and suddenly he starts to do some spiritual work, and then he starts to clear enough where he becomes almost like space, and then suddenly the boomerang comes back to God. That's the return back home. That's the return home. The boomerang goes back. You've let go of your human identity. You're not this character sitting in a chair somewhere in a church listening to someone on a planet in some galaxy in the universe. You're not this tiny character. You realize the soul is infinite. How can this human being be you? Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, people often don't ask these questions. They just automatically go to the airport and they show their passport and they go, this picture, it's me. It may be a manifestation of creation, but where is the real you? When the body gets thrown into the grave and eaten by the worms, where's the real you? See? You can't find it. That's the great mystery. We have to find that mystery. That's called, in Sanskrit, paramdam. Paramdam. Your true home. Your home in the beyond. Paramdam. True home. It's a great word. That's your real home. So, those people who get excited about this, they're running towards God. They're just sprinting. They can't wait to go home. It's like you're probably running here. So excited to be here, right? This is a special place. This place should be 10 times bigger, actually, I think. I really do. No question about that. Because there's openness to this kind of discussion and also an invocation of this energy. That may be even more important than the discussion itself. You've got to do the practices that dissolve your identities. You can't just talk about it. I know what the soul is. I'm a soul. You can say that all you want. But do you feel that your body encompasses the entire universe? If not, maybe there's still some work to do. Maybe we're missing something if we still feel like we're grounded on a planet. So, and the whole system is built in the human being too, right? The chakra system starts out the very root of the spine, which is basic body consciousness, identifying with the human body, which is where most people are at, which is more of an animal consciousness. I'm a body walking around, I need food and drink. And that's pretty much, what is it? Food, sleep, procreation, and fear. 4 basic things that animals and humans have in common. But if you could break through the first 3 chakras, the first 3 states of consciousness, into the heart, finally you actually become a human. Yay! Where there's actually love, you actually care about the world, not so self-centered. But your whole mission becomes about supporting everyone else. You become a servant to the Lord, so to speak. Servant of God in the heart. Until then, still animal, still trying to work out some issues so you can enter into that holy space. So we try to awaken that heart. Does anyone remember the mantra that we chanted?
Yes.
What was it?
Anandam Paramandam.
Close. Anandam Premanandam. Anandam, yeah. And so, and this idea of Anandam, what a beautiful concept. Anandam means bliss. Every person also has a bliss body. Not just a physical body, not just a mental body, not just an emotional body or an intellect body. It has a bliss body. Do you know when the bliss body manifests itself? When you become aware of it? When you have no more desires for the world to go this way or that. You're okay. Any direction that the universe takes you. You have completely surrendered like the leaf floating down the river. Mm-hmm. That leaf is not going, oh my gosh, I'm so scared I need to cling to the banks. Did you ever see a leaf do that? I've never seen a leaf do that. It just keeps floating. So relaxed. That's bliss. That's the Ananda. Also, kind of an extraordinary state. Some yogis, when they do their spiritual practices, at some point, like, I think I'm going to add an Ananda to my name. Some people were joking with me. They said, Brian, you should be called Brian Ananda. So, which is, so many yogis have done this. I just laughed. I said, but I don't qualify for that. How can I name myself that? But this Ananda body, so powerful, it overwhelms you that if you were really immersed in the bliss, we would have to take you up in a stretcher and bring you home. Your eyes would be just crying because the state would be so lovely. Hard to describe unless you're there, but I mean, it's extraordinary. This is the possibility of such a joy that it overwhelms you. You don't need to come back. You're really totally complete. In that state, nothing else need be done. No more tasks to do. No more worries, no more fears. Complete freedom. That's the Ananda. Technically, Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss body. So these are all kind of like stages in the spiritual path. So I was talking about the chakras. And then, so if your energy then rises even beyond the heart, all the way up into the third eye, then you have a realization that, oh, actually everything is spirit. There's actually no such thing as physical or non-physical. You don't even see anything like that anymore. You know, all is spirit. And then finally, the energy, your energy, something you can call it Kundalini if you want, your sense of I. We're going to call it the sense of I, the me, the identity. When it reaches the top of the head, that is what you would call as God consciousness. You become, in a way, kind of the all-knowing, the omniscient, the omnipotent, the omnipresent. You feel yourself with a capital S. So in the human being, it would be like a small s. But in the crown, it would be called a big S. You wouldn't even couldn't even use a letter for this consciousness. It would be nothing to say. And so my goal is to share with people an energy that can help them to feel the higher states of consciousness and clear out the blocks. Those two things. So, and I mentioned the idea of mantras being one of them. You know, another really powerful way to do clearing is through breath. People really underestimate breathing, so much so that we often hold our breath throughout the day. Very shallow breathing. If you notice it, if you just pay attention to your breath, you'll notice that. So when you do deep breathing, you know, I have a personal practice where I do 10 minutes of deep breathing a day. It's my most powerful spiritual practice of the day. Sends me into deep meditation, clears a lot of heaviness. And so, you know, maybe I would say there would be kind of two recommendations I would have for people to sort of enhance and kind of send their spiritual path to the next level or the next dimension, is the chanting and the breath. Maybe start out with doing some deep breathing. Breathe into your heart, imagine filling it with light. That's probably the easiest one, what we just did. And then expanding the light to fill the room. Lovely practice, very easy. Then, when you're in a nice state of like kind of expandedness, then chant the mantra. And I'll tell you, it will land way more deeply than if you just sat down and started chanting Ananda Premananda. Ananda Premananda. I was checking for my mom, I don't have that, but Anandam Premanandam. If you just start chanting, sometimes it's kind of hard to click into the spiritual energy, so we have to kind of soften ourselves a little bit through the breath, then take on the mantra. And then after you've chanted the mantra and you've invoked the presence and the energy, you sit in silence. And you just wait. Feel. What does this feel like? What's happening to me inside? You watch the sort of internal alchemy. You pay attention to the shift. And you'll notice it may send a part of your being into a deeper meditation or a more buoyant state. That's how I would call it. It's hard to describe, but there's a state that dawns on you. And then you put your attention on that little shift and it draws you in. And you can keep diving and diving into the essence of the mantra itself. And as I've often said, the goal is to become the mantra itself. That's key. The mantra is the vibration you are seeking. If you're seeking true, endless, infinite love, unstoppable, where all your cells are glowing with love, the prema energy does it. It's the key. It just sort of sweeps over you and starts to work in so many amazing ways. That's why I'm so captivated by these mantras, because they're mysterious. They have this profound impact of going so deep. I mean, I really can't understand them, but you know, once I really started to notice the transformation of Brian, it just gave me more passion. This is working. You know, we kind of have to see that it's working. If we don't have any proof, then we're not going to do it. So, the love that I'm speaking about, which I kind of want to emphasize, that is not the normal human love. If you're nice to me and just sweet to me and you make me some apple pie, then I'll love you. Oh, you're the most wonderful person. I love apple pie. That's how we also often fall in love, you know? So, but that's gonna, you know, what if the next time that person really messes up on the apple pie? I get irritated. One little thing creeps in, little irritation. Our love is so conditional. Based upon, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. If you smile at me, I'll smile at you. So this love that I'm speaking about, the spiritual love, has nothing to do with the outside appearances or what people are doing for me. It simply is the nature of the universe. It is. It is the very foundation of existence itself. God's love keeps the creation alive. The heart of God is this manifestation. If we hate anything in creation, we're hating God. Would be another way to say it. If we dislike anything in creation, we're disliking a part of God. It's really simple, right? Really simple, actually. So then the whole path to love is about letting go of judgments of everything that we thought was separate from us. Everything that's not God, that we thought was not God's love. Whether it was wars or politicians or it was bullies that beat us up. All of that must be forgiven if one were to reach the true infinite love. That's why so much in the Bible it is spoken about forgiveness as a key to enlightenment. If you haven't forgiven everyone, you will go on to the next lifetime and do the same dance with that person. Maybe you'll switch places or something like that, but you'll continue on and on and on with that person. They bug you, you bug them. It's a bug fest. On and on. That's why we reincarnate, because we haven't really truly learned love. So, I mean, maybe that perhaps could give some motivation of like, okay, I need to really start working on forgiveness as my rule. Any little irritation towards someone means that you're out of alignment with love. Any little irritation, any grumpiness means that you're not in line with God's love. So, then I've got to really deeply think, how important is it for me to truly experience infinite love? Or is that just something I go to church to hear about and then I go home and then I start acting irritated towards people? Am I just pretending? Or what is it? What do I want? Maybe that's a better question. Like, what is really important to me? To maintain my irritation or grumpiness? Or is it to let go? And I'm not saying that happens all at once. As I said, remember how many journals I had? That was a joke, but that's actually true. So many journals in Brian's release journal. If I had any ounce of grumpiness or irritation during the day, I would write it down, at least by the end of the day, with my intention to let it go. I don't want to maintain any resistance towards anyone. I want my heart to be crystal clear, spotless. That's what I want. And that's actually true. For me personally, that's what I want. So, and since I have a passion around that, I have a desire to work on myself each day. I don't run away from it. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling this. I'm just going to escape and go somewhere else. I'll go on to the Hawaiian Islands so I don't have to feel this. You can go on vacation, but that vacation's not going to clear out your irritation. It will go right into the subconscious and unconscious and get stuck there. So I want us to be very, very self-honest. We stop pretending. As I said, take off the Halloween costume. It's not you. Do you see any kids on Halloween wearing a costume the next day, continuing to wear that costume? They'd be made fun of. They take off the costume after they're done on Halloween. So today is that time. So maybe I'll